Usually when you think sugar, you think sugar beets, and you think sugar cane. Those are like the two common industrial ways to make sugar nowadays. I guess in the 1800s, in this part of the country, you got your sugar from sorghum cane, so it's kind of a forgotten crop. But now, I don't know, people are starting to grow it again. So this is what it looks like when it's ready. So there's some that aren't quite ready over there that randomly grew from some old seeds last year. They look kind of green, like almost like corn.
Yeah.
But this is what they look like when they're about ready, and that's all the stuff that we harvested earlier. And Gabe will show you we'll just show you the process for every single one of these. That's literally just cut the cane. Gabe, what do you do with it next, buddy? You tell him. What do you do with it next, sweetie?
So, this goes up.
You just pull them all off, right, buddy? Come on, do it, buddy. Oh, you're looking at that ladybug?
Oh, I can put that somewhere.
Very gentle. I saw you guys they shucked like a bunch of these canes.
This one goes up. So the green ones go up.
Yeah, we gotta do. What do I do with that end part, Gabe? What do I do with that part?
This.
Do I gotta cut that off?
You gotta cut it off
After you're done? And it's crazy. You wouldn't think it, but there's a ton of juice in one of these. Probably get a cup or two of juice out of one of these. They look like they're just sort of, I don't know. They look like something that would grow in a marsh. But you wouldn't realize it, but there's, I mean, it's full of juice. Save a few for yourself. For the most part, we got to do. Hey, Gabe, you grab them. Okay, great. Good job, Sammy. So once you cut them, you have a few days to squeeze them. So those ones up there were all harvested in the last 4 days or so. It's pretty much the same. This is more or less a sugar, similar to a sugar cane. It just grows in a more northern latitude. So we're like, sugar cane would be like the Caribbean or the deep south. This is what people in the 1800s would have been growing here. This is like right at the cutoff point in South Carolina, Tennessee, a little further north. And then at some point, if you needed sugar, it was going to be sugar beets then. So you would grow this cane, and then some point around October, everybody would go out in the field, start cutting this stuff, put it in a big stack in a mill like that, a small mill that like you just cut a sapling. All you needed is one draft horse, and then people just feed that cane, get all that juice, and then you cook it down into a syrup, or I guess you could ferment it directly, make rum or something like that. But that can then be your sweetener for bread, baking, all that stuff. Syrup is like a common thing people would do with it, like syrup and biscuit, or sorghum syrup and biscuits. That's something people used to eat a lot. You still see it a little bit in Tennessee, if you like. It's pretty simple. Honestly, it's a pretty simple crop. You plant it late spring. You can see the spacing here, but you just in rows. It's pretty durable. Like, it doesn't require a ton of irrigation. This kind of like where it starts to get a little bit brown like that, and you see the flowers at the top are all brown, and that's how you know it's mature. Kind of a forgotten piece of history. I think that's, my dad's dream a little bit, because that was what like any harvest activity, it's supposed to be a family affair, right? So there's people cutting cane, there's people pulling the leaves off the cane, prepping them, stacking them, and then there's the crew squeezing it, right? So it's an all day thing, and you can't take forever to do it because you want to get all that juice together in one load. Okay, Gabe. Okay, you can stay there and do that one. You gonna come with me? Where'd your little brother run off to? Oh, there he is. Last year we cooked it down into syrup and gave them the syrup, and then they had to then use the syrup, basically water down the syrup again to sweeten the rum. This year they're gonna make it out of the straight, the inherent water content in the cane, so it's never gonna get diluted again. It's gonna get squeezed, and then they're gonna, well, maybe they'll add a little water. I don't know. But instead of cooking it down into syrup, transporting it there, and rewatering it, they're taking the raw, fresh out of the cane juice, fermenting it, and then making rum out of it. So, test trial last year was pretty good. Authentic rum, not like, you know, this would be like true South Carolina, Tennessee American rum, not, you know, imported sugar cane or whatever. This is locally grown sorghum right here in Camden. So. Was he able to pull it?
He did. It was, you know, it was a little challenging. These guys are having lunch, and then we're going to hook up the John Deere. It's a Chattanooga number 11, 125 years old, 3-roller. It was, it's a local mill, so it was used in, obviously built in Chattanooga by Chattanooga Plow Company, patented at the end of the 1800s, and we estimate it, you know, it's like a 1903, and then it was being used north of Camden. We found it at an antique store.
So 1900s.
I would say 1903, 1890, maybe any time between like 1892 and 1903. And because it's called improved, they did a couple of things on the juice flow area from the earliest days of it. So that's why it might be very early 1900s. But it's a 125-year-old cane mill. We restored it. It was rusty and stuff, but they made these things so strongly, you know, and they made it with high quality steel. So that you can see the shaft, that's the original shaft. Yeah. We just knocked the rust off and lathed it. We just cut this down in the forest here in our property, and it's about 22, 23 foot sapling there, and we find the balance point, my son and I did, and put it up there. It's very simple. I mean, you just drill 2 holes and it kind of works. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And typically, as I understand it, particularly in this area, the neighborhood had one. You know, one farmer wouldn't necessarily have enough stuff to justify having a cane mill just for himself. So a community would have one, and they would all bring their cane, and they would harvest it in a very short period of time on the same mill for a community. But that would be the sweetener that folks would use in the 1900s or 1800s. How you doing? No, the horse came, and the horse is we're now going to use the John Deere, and we're going to get all of them done. So every 6-7 gallons at a time, we pause for a moment and do it, because you don't need the pump to run the whole time.